I'll turn off the rocket, and I'll go to Window at the top of the user interface and choose Timeline. In the center, I'll click on Create Video Timeline, and then in the lower left-hand corner, I'll click on the 3 white boxes to go to the GIF animation timeline. I'm going to turn off all the layers in frame 1 with the exception of layer number 1, which is the sun that's fully eclipsed. Now I'm going to go to the right-hand corner of the timeline, and in the right-hand corner of that GIF timeline are a series of horizontal lines. I'll click on it, and I'll choose Make Frames from Layers. And if we look at the timeline now, you can see it's distributed the frames we create individually, one after the other. First thing I'll do is I'll change the first frame that always comes up with 5 seconds to no delay. Then I'm going to go to frame number 8, which is the rocket. I'll select it in the timeline and click on the trash can and hit yes. Now if I play this animation, it's going too fast and it's going backwards. I'll stop it and shift select all the frames. Going back to the corner of the timeline, to those lines, I'll click on that and click on the reverse frames option. Now the eclipse is happening in the right sequence from small to large, but it's going too fast. So we're going to slow it down. Again, I'll shift select all the frames, and then if I click on any of the frames where it says 0 seconds, I can choose the time I want. I'll go to Other, and I'll start off with 0.3. Now I'll play the animation, and it's slowing it down for us. Next, we need to introduce the rocket animation part. I'll stop, clicking on the very last frame. I'll select the rocket layer and turn it on in the layer window. I'll hit Command T to scale it down. I'm just going to make it considerably smaller. And then I'll move it off to the left and rotate it horizontal, moving it off out of sight on the left-hand side of the document. In the timeline, I'll add a new frame, and then I'll move the rocket to the other side off screen as well. Now I'll tween that rocket to fly across the screen. Clicking on the tweening button, which is the series of little circles that diminish in scale, I'll choose 15, and I'm going to preview it. Now what I might do is stop this, and what I'm going to do now is play with the rocket a bit. I'll go to the first frame in which it shows up, which is frame number 7. I'll click on 8 and 9, and I'm just moving it so that once it's on screen, I'll just move it a little bit so that it's going up and down as opposed to straight across. So it's just adding a little bit of an interest to this, perhaps, that otherwise would make it static by leaving it the way it was. So just clicking on every other frame, I'll just move it down. And I'll rewind it and preview it one last time. Now all we need to do is export it. I'll stop my timeline, going up to File, Export, Save for Web. I'll confirm that it says GIF at the top, then I'll click on Save. In the attribute window to save, I'll make sure that the format is image only. I'll save. The last thing I would do is drag it over a browser. In this case I'll use Chrome, just to make sure the animation is working properly. And that concludes the tutorial.